Welcome, everybody, to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Thompson of PunchDrunkCritics.com, and on this episode of Cinema Royale, we are talking what else? Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. The last movie in the franchise, maybe? I mean, who knows, really? Who can say? Tom Cruise is what, 62? He can, he's got another 20
If
years in
Harrison
him.
Ford is making Indiana Jones movies in his 80s, Tom Cruise will be making Mission Impossible movies when he's in his hundreds.
He's talked about it. He's talked
Yeah,
about, doing movies, doing action movies till he's 80 or even 100
it's
years
never
old.
gonna stop. Never gonna stop. Why would he?
They're gonna stop. He's 62. Looks like he's 52.
Dating Anna de Armas, good for him.
Is he really?
Yeah, yeah, that's
I
the
know that
rumor.
there was a rumor, but I know they're supposed to be making a movie together.
Well, they're traveling everywhere together and stuff, so lucky guy.
Yeah, especially if you've seen Ballerina.
Oh yeah, I saw Ballerina. Yeah, she's. I interviewed her. I told her I interviewed her in person at CinemaCon.
Yeah, I hate you.
And it
Um,
was like she could have told me like I'm really good friends with the cameraman. She could have said murder him, and I probably would have done it. Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I really liked her in Ballerina. We could definitely talk about that in the next couple of weeks. But
Oh
let's
yeah.
talk about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now, this was not the original. Probably wasn't going to be the original title of the movie. It was going to be Dead Reckoning Part Two.
Yeah,
Dead
yeah. Dead
Reckoning
Reckoning
One
Part Two.
didn't do as great at the box office, so Paramount changed that title to just Dead Reckoning, and then changed this one, which was going to be Part Two, to The Final Reckoning. I
Yeah.
believe, as I was explaining to my girlfriend yesterday, is that I believe they did that in order to just draw more people in, and that it's not over. They might take a break,
I
but
mean,
but it's not. I don't think it's over. Without getting into the story too much, what are your thoughts about it being
I
done?
mean, it's really is Dead Reckoning Part Two, though. Like it's they may have changed the title, but the movie, if you haven't seen Dead Reckoning, it's going to be hard to follow. And I mean, the thing about the movie too, like I was really excited to see it, but I will admit I was disappointed. And I think some of the early reviews for it that are raving about it as one of the greatest action movies of all time are laughable.
It's
I
not a
mean,
better action movie than Dead Reckoning was.
no, and it's nowhere near as good as like Fallout or Rogue Nation, like or Ghost Protocol. Like those were all way better movies. And Mission Impossible 3, it's actually my least favorite of the series so far. Like the thing is the first half hour of the movie is really rough with all the flashbacks and callbacks to Dead Reckoning because they're trying to get the audience back in the swing of things. I
There's a
found that hard
lot,
to watch. Like it was
a lot of exposition in this movie.
yeah, it was cringe. And there's this is the biggest budget, but there's curiously less action in this one than in any of the other Mission Impossible movies. Not that there's a lack of action, but there is less in terms of set pieces. A lot of it's underwater, a lot of it's on submarines. It's very derivative of like Hunt for Red October and movies like that. You can tell like they watch those films and love those films. And for me, the only part of the movie that really, really, really kicked it into high gear, and I think it works because it leaves the audience on a high, is the ending on the plane, which is amazing. Like
It
that's a
is.
legitimately amazing scene.
It's fantastic, but but I would say, and I agree with you. This movie has a lot of exposition. It's very bogged down by sentimentality,
Oh my God. Oh, and the
but
soundtrack and the quiet scenes where the music plays and people are looking at each other with tears in their eye. They don't cry as much as The Weeknd did and Hurry Up Tomorrow, but
God, don't let's not please let's not start talking about that movie, please.
start crying, just welling up and crying.
But for me, it's like okay, I acknowledged all that stuff, and I'm gonna go see the movie again this weekend, so I'll be able to judge it again. But you know, this has been a 30-year journey with this franchise and these characters. Like I love Luther Stickle. I love Benji Dunn. I love these characters. I love Ethan Hunt. I love these characters. So even as it's bogged down in sentimentality and it's a little too dramatic and maybe even a little too self-glorifying, maybe it thinks too highly of itself in some ways. I'm such a big fan of this franchise and these characters that I could forgive it. Like I could forgive it, even as it got a little too slow sometimes, because it was so busy explaining things. You know, I love these characters so much that I was willing to kind of look past it, and I feel like Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie also love this franchise in the same way that we do. And so that's why they kind of get, you know, dive
I mean,
first into this stuff.
the thing about these movies though is that I when I judge them harshly, it's only because they've set the bar so high, right? And
Absolutely.
they really have. These are impeccably made films. So as I say that
And
Mission
this one's
Impossible,
impeccably made too.
and if I say that this is my least favorite of the series, that's not me saying it's a bad movie. It's
Right.
not a bad movie. It's very entertaining, right? It's just they have set the bar so high, but for me, it doesn't have the staying power of something like Fallout, which I thought was a terrific film. And it's just like they decided to do this one storyline that they spread out over the two movies, and for me, that never really works. I never like that because you feel like you have two halves of one bigger story, and it drags and they're long. It's a 6 hour story. I think if they had done one epic installment with the storyline and with all the characters, it would have been amazing,
Yeah.
right? One like epic 3 hour Mission Impossible movie, it would have been terrific. It didn't need to be two movies. The story wasn't strong enough, with the entity and the villains suck. They killed off one of the best characters, which is fine. But like you have a whole movie now without her. I think if she had died like halfway through, the movie, it would have been a little different.
Yeah.
I just
We're
yeah,
talking about Ilsa Faust.
Ilsa Faust, yeah, and it's so I just
That's not a
kind of
spoiler, folks. She died a couple years
I
ago.
mean, yeah, she
So,
died in the last
so if you
movie,
don't
and
know
it's
by
and
now, I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm with you. I really felt her absence in this one. I
yeah, I
one,
really
I
got
love
used to having her around. Yeah,
Rebecca Ferguson. I love the Ilsa Faust character because to me, she was as close to Ethan Hunt's equal as anybody's going to get, and
yeah, I agree.
she can handle the physical stuff, and she could even take on sort of a leadership role. She could divvy up a lot of the stuff that Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise do in the movie. And without her, I was like, man, I really miss having
Yeah,
a
it
second
it
character
it
who
was
could handle
it
the.
was weird not having her around. Yeah, it was very strange
It
not
really
having her.
was, and she has not as if she's been around for the whole franchise either. She just made such an impression so quickly, you know, that she really became integral, and not having her there um, was a big absence in my opinion. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I was disappointed not having her around. And like I like Haley Atwell, but her character has never been that strong to me compared to the others. And she gets a lot of screen time, and I just don't really know. Like I just that feels like it was unearned. Like I feel like they're trying to set her up as this huge protagonist, and it's like she's not as cool as the rest of them, right? I guess she's supposed to be kind of this.
She also doesn't have the time. I mean,
No,
she gets introduced in part one, which is not ideal, and then she's back for part two, which might be the last one, also not ideal. So
yeah.
she's not really set up to succeed. I think she does a pretty good job. One,
I mean, she's a good actress. I think she's
Haley
awesome.
Atwell.
It's just, but it's just
Haley
that character really did a lot for me.
Haley Atwell's amazing, so I don't mind.
I
You
mean, yeah, of course. He's arguing.
I know what you're smiling about. I mean, she's a fantastic actress, Chris. I don't
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, that's all you meant. Okay.
know. But this one also, like this was so storyline wise, not getting into too much, takes place a couple months after the last movie. And the entity has basically thrown the world into global chaos. We're on the
Yeah.
verge of nuclear war. And of course, it's up to Ethan Hunt and his team to stop it. I do kind of like the fact that he was able to put together a ragtag group. I kind of like that Greg Tarzan Davis got a little bit more to do in this one.
Yeah, it was funny how he just kind of immediately joins up with them. Like, oh,
I know.
yeah, he's like,
You know
all
how
right.
that happens? That happens when you make friends with Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick, as they do.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
We're gonna give my buddy here a bigger role. Can we find a way to make him stay on our side for a Palm Clementieff is back as Paris.
Oh, I liked her.
I
Yeah.
like her too, but she has less to do in this movie also, which I think is
Well, yeah, which is weird. And the whole thing about her having French, only speaking in French, that was kind of weird too. I don't know. I mean, she looks great like with her midriff showing. That was awesome. But yeah.
it was good to have her around. There are some really cool characters that pop up from the lineage of the franchise too. And I don't want to give those away, but what'd you think about some of the surprise appearances in this movie?
I thought the relation that Shea Wigham had to Cruise was ridiculous,
You see
and I
him
started
have that
laughing.
stupid scowl on his face every single scene.
Yeah,
He
when
always
that
looked like
got,
he had a stomach ache.
I thought that was completely ridiculous and didn't need to be in the movie.
Yeah.
I liked the guy though from the vault in Mission Impossible. I
Yes.
thought that was cool.
Yes.
Um, like that was really cool, and I thought that guy was actually pretty good in the movie.
Me
Um,
too. Me too.
yeah, so things like that I liked, but it was just like everything connected to like the first movie and the third movie. Like it was a lot of fan service,
A
which is
lot of fan
strange.
service, which
And
which I
Macquarie's always talked about
appreciate.
how bad that is.
I appreciate that it's fan service because they want to reward you for sticking along this far. I appreciate that honestly. It doesn't really bother me so much, even if
Yeah.
some of this stuff requires a lot of bending of canon, to be like to make sense. You're like, yeah, okay,
I do find it strange though that like outside of Ving Rhames, you look at all the other Mission Impossible movies, like before Rogue Nation, where they just dump characters like that would show up in movies and they'd never come back. Even that's happened with like Jeremy Renner's character too. Like it would have been cool if they had brought him back in somewhere because they were
It's
just
one
dumping
character that's
characters. Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Paula Patton, all these people that were like a part of the team for like one movie and
Paul
then
Patton.
never heard from again.
Paul Patton was super smoking in the one movie
Oh
shoot.
my God. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, Jesus.
Yeah, she's a yeah. I mean, tell me about it. I
Wow.
remember seeing that on IMAX.
Oh. Yeah, man. But I don't know, man. Overall, how do you think this movie's going to do at the box office this weekend? What are the prospects
I
for
think
it?
it's going to do okay, but I don't think it's going to do that well. I think it's going to do about what Dead Reckoning did. Maybe a little more, maybe slightly more because they are doing like a lot more publicity for it and they don't have the strikes. But I don't think it's going to be as big as Fallout was. And I don't think it's going to make the money that they need to make for it to be considered like a huge hit.
I feel like
You know,
they've been reaching for that Fallout box office ever since, like just trying to
Well, and
make.
then it costs so much money. Like if it made the amount of money that Fallout made, it wouldn't make money. That's the thing, because it's such an expensive film. It's like $400 million or something crazy like that. And they had bad luck though. They got the pandemic, then they had the strikes. Like a lot of things went wrong on that movie, and it wouldn't have normally cost that much. I don't think it's going to be a huge hit. I think this is probably the end for Mission Impossible for a while. I think it's going to be hard to finance them for a bit. I could see though Cruise though he could come back to the franchise at some point. Like I feel like Paramount won't want to leave it alone forever.
They
So
can't.
I could see,
They
yeah,
can't leave it alone forever, otherwise they'll lose it.
yeah. So I could see at some point they might come back. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I don't think this is the last Mission Impossible that we're ever gonna see. But I think they'll take a break for a while. Like they'll let it go for a little while, at least like 5 or 6 years, and then maybe we'll get something else.
Until we get the Mission Impossible TV series reboot.
God, I don't think Cruise would allow that. I think he has ownership in it now. I don't think Cruise would ever allow that. But I could see them doing a movie with like a different team though.
What if they said we're going to do a Mission Impossible TV series reboot with Greg Tarzan Davis starring in it? Then he might say yes.
Well, maybe. I don't know if it's his buddy. Who knows? Yeah,
Him and
exactly.
him and McQuarrie as executive producers, I think he'd say yes.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
You put
Tarzan.
his buddy in it, I think you can get it done. I think you can get that passed.
I'm glad that those guys broed out on the set of Top Gun. So it's
I
like,
know.
it's like good for him.
Exactly, exactly. You put Greg or Powell in there, What
Yeah,
you
Powell could do it.
on
Powell, I
Powell?
could see them doing a movie. I could see them doing a Mission Impossible movie with like Powell and Cruise teaming up.
What if it was Powell and and Davis on the new Miami Heat, not Miami Vice movie?
The one who I thought would be Powell would actually be a very good Sonny Crockett, and
Yeah,
I could see that guy as Tubbs, but I feel like they need somebody with a little more charisma. Maybe like I
I
was
don't
trying to
know.
think
I
who
think
was it?
he's
I had
got
somebody in
charisma.
mind for Tubbs
I
the other
think he's
day.
got charisma, and as long as you've got Powell as like the A-lister, you can have somebody who's maybe on the rise to be the other half. I think you could do that.
Who was I thinking of the other day for Tubbs? I had like somebody in mind. I forget what it
Marlon
was.
Wayans.
What? Sorry.
Marlon Wayans.
I
Is
mean,
that who you were
he's a good
thinking?
actor though. He's a really good actor. He's too
You're
old for
thinking
it.
of
Maybe.
Marlon
Yeah.
Wayans.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but he's too old.
I know
No, I
who you were thinking of. You were thinking of this guy we saw recently, uh, Abel the Weekend Tesfaye.
Oh my God, could you imagine him in Miami Vice? How much the crying that would happen in the movie nonstop, just like the welling up of the tear coming in slow motion. And then instead of like killing drug dealers or bad guys, he could just disarm them with the beauty of his song. Somebody pulls a gun on him and he goes,
I got so many notes about the my appearance on when I did my Channel 7 segment, because I very rarely talk about movies that I think stink. Like I
yeah.
don't waste my time. I've only got like a 5 minute segment. So I just don't waste my time. But this was one time where I was like, I had no choice. So I
Oh,
was
it
like,
was
I spent the whole time
I
bashing
was in a
this.
screening, I was in the fan event for that, and it was all Weekend fans. A lot of people walked out. The girl that I was with started laughing hysterically at the end, so loud that she had to leave the theater
Yeah,
because she just couldn't, she was like crying laughing.
there were
And
there were walkouts at the showing I
there were a
had.
lot of walkouts when I saw it.
I
I
was
mean,
like,
it's bad. It's a bad movie. Like
yeah,
even his most ardent defenders have to admit it's a piece of shit.
yeah, and he's not, and I don't think he's a good actor. I think he probably should just stop.
Yeah.
You know,
Stick to singing.
very rarely also do I comment on a person's acting ability. I think he's bad, and I
Oh,
think
he is bad. I mean, whatever. He can handle it. The guy's like $400 million concert tours, so he can't be the king of all media. Boy, though, the guy has an ego, that's for sure. He casts himself as himself, aka the greatest singer in the world. Tortured genius.
Oh my God. Oh man, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. I'm going to say it here. I don't think it's the last one. I think they'll take a few
No,
years off, similar to what Keanu Reeves and them are doing with John Wick.
there's no way it's the last one. I mean, I
Let
think
people
like, yeah.
let people miss it and then come back. The audience will come back. Tom Cruise will be 70 years old or whatever, 65, 66 years old. He'll look 46. He'll
And
hang.
it'll be an interesting challenge for him physically. I just hope that if they do it, they make him a little less messianic than they did in this one. Like the whole thing where he's like almost like Christ got a little too much from me.
I mean,
Like
I didn't see it quite like that the way you did. I did like them kind of changing our perspective of Ethan Hunt by looking back at all the things he's done that might have put the world in the situation it's in. For a guy like him that we've watched for 30 years, the one thing we know about him is the amount of pressure he puts on himself to do these things. I think that was a pretty good twist to make him a little bit less heroic in some ways, but also to put an incredible amount of pressure on him this time. I thought that was actually a kind of a cool move, and a kind of a change on the dynamic. I thought that was smart.
I thought he was a little too like almost like Jesus, like you have to put your faith in him and he's the savior of the world. Like it's kind of, like only he can save us now. It's his destiny.
But
Like it was
that's been the movies that like from the beginning almost. And that's
I
not
don't but I felt it was
maybe not
less
the
like a
first
spy
one.
movie, more like a sci-fi fantasy almost in some ways.
It's definitely a little bit more sci-fi, but in terms of like the Ethan Hunt character, I thought that's always kind of been the case. I mean, that's why they're always so hard up. Like the government's always so hard up to like to like come after him. It's like he's like the only person who can do this goddamn thing.
Angela
Like that's
Bassett, like
always been
he
his
knows what he's doing. Leave him
his
alone.
MO.
And
That's
then they do that whole remake of Failsafe with Angela Bassett and Nick Offerman in the Pentagon.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All that stuff with like the president and all that kind of stuff. That stuff was very familiar.
Yeah.
Very familiar. It doesn't mean it's bad. I think
No,
familiar
no, it was compelling, but it's just
familiar
like
things are
it
perfectly
bloats the
fine.
running time more
Yeah,
so than you probably needed.
yeah, they're perfectly fine if done well. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of comforting things and familiar things here that were fine, that were done really well. So with a lot of great actors in this movie too,
Oh my God. Well, it's
in
everybody wants
small
to work with
roles.
Tom Cruise, so
Yeah, yeah, a lot of great actors in small roles. I had forgotten Katie O'Brien was in this movie. Like
and then the guy from Severance was good as the sub captain.
yep, yep. I had a lot
And
of
Hannah
people
Waddington not doing an English accent, that was off-putting.
a lot of people not laughed but gasped when he showed up. They were like happy gasps when
Yeah,
he
yeah.
showed up. So yeah, there's a lot of great acting in this, a lot of great performance. I thought Hannah Waddingham was really good in the role
Yeah.
that she had. I really liked a lot of this movie. I was surprised we didn't get any of Vanessa Kirby, but whatever. She's a little
It's
busy.
so they have so many people in it, so
She's a
yeah.
little she's a little busy with something else going on, so whatever. But some other franchise, I don't know.
Something fantastic.
Yeah, something fantastic. Yeah, they're probably gonna make four of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, I don't get to see Vanessa Kirby. I'm a little sad, but whatever. Uh, but yeah,
Soon enough.
look, overall, I enjoyed this movie. It's not my favorite in the franchise. It's not the best, but if it's the end. I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed in the way it
No,
ended.
no, 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 no. It's my least favorite, but it's still good, and it's still worth seeing, and I'll probably see it again. So there you go. I still haven't seen it on IMAX, so I'd like to see it on IMAX screen.
Yep, I will definitely be. I've already got a commitment from my friends who want to see it this weekend, so I know I'll be seeing it again. So, all right, folks, that is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. You've heard our thoughts. If you have your own thoughts, of course, reach out to me and let me know. I always love to hear from you guys about this stuff. Chris Bunbury from JoeBull.com. I didn't even introduce him this time because I don't
I mean,
really.
everybody knows.
He's he's bigger than all of us, so I don't even have to say who he is anymore. Anything going on at Joe Blow that you want to talk about?
No, not particular.
Okay. Just the machine moving as usual,
Yeah,
right?
we're working hard at work as usual.
That's good, man. You're gonna be doing some traveling soon, and you got
Yep.
Comic-Con coming up. I'm skipping it this year, so
I won't blame you. I do not
yeah,
blame you at all.
yeah, skipping it. But I might do TIFF though, so we'll see.
Oh, yeah, well, let me know. Let me know.
Is the accreditation open for that yet?
No, not yet. I'll let you know though. It's soon. It's soon. So yeah, it's
Let me
probably
know
within the next
because
couple
I
weeks. So
think
yeah, if you go to TIFF, let me know, man.
I think this might be the year I go.
Oh, good. That'd be awesome. It'll be a good year. There's gonna be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I heard The Weeknd has a sequel of something coming out that we
Jesus,
need to talk about.
I might
So
skip it.
thanks everybody for tuning in to Cinema Royale. I am Travis Hobson of PunchdrunkCritics.com. You can find me there every day. You can find Chris Bumbray at JoeBlow.com. All right, everybody. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for checking out the show. If you like what we're laying down, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest stuff.